Hey guys, welcome back to another Merely on Time Watch Reviews. I'm Chris. I unbox and review budget watches, and today I am doing my full review with my likes and gripes of this watch that I unboxed recently. This is the Boldr Odyssey Freediver by Boldr Supply Company. Huge thank you to Hy for sending me this watch to review. I will be sending it on to my pal Watch Wit immediately following the filming of this review. Just ahead of the introduction is my up close and personal montage with music by Adrian over at Somewhere in Time Watch Reviews. Enjoy the review. All right, guys, thanks for tuning back in. Really excited to have this watch in. It is the first Boldr that I've had into the channel. This is the Odyssey Freediver. And let me just go over the basic specifications, a reminder from the unboxing, and then I'll get into my likes and my gripes for this piece. As you can see, it's not running right now. So let me just get this thing juiced up here. And this is an absolutely beautiful watch. I've really enjoyed the time that I have spent with it. It is a well-made piece, that is for sure. And yeah, so let's just go over the basic specs here for just a moment. It is a large watch, and so it is going to be suitable for larger wrists like my 7.5-inch wrist. And so you're dealing with a case diameter of 44.6. That's what Super Cali measured this at. 14.6 millimeters thick. The lug to lug, and you can see it does extend a little bit because of those end lengths, but the lug to lug from tip to tip there is 52.4 millimeters, and your lug width is 22 at the lugs, and then it tapers down to 20 at the clasp before going back up to 22 again. It wears very, very well, sits nice and balanced on the wrist. It is constructed of 316L stainless steel, and that's absolutely everything on this watch except for the dial. The bezel is stainless steel as well. One of the things I really love about this watch is just the curves and the angles that you see on the watch here. And there is a nice combination of polishing and brushing on the watch head and on the bracelet as well. So let me just show you the watch head. So you do have a nice vertical brush finish here. You have a chamfer edge on the side of that lug, transitioning into some brushing on the top. The bracelet as well, 316L stainless steel, is mostly brushed, but you can see even on the bracelet itself, each of the links has like a 45-degree angle cut into it. So it really makes use of the angular design throughout, and on those angles is a polished surface. And so when you see this outdoors, and I'll show you a shot of that outdoor wrist shot right now in the sunlight, you can see that it does give off some really nice, I call it flare or eye candy. The light glitters off of the bracelet very, very well. The bezel is stainless steel as mentioned, and you have etched into the bezel, the 5-minute markers as well as the triangle. It's a little bit deeply etched, and those are filled with Swiss Super Luminova. Let you have a listen to the bezel. It is 120 click unidirectional. Very solid, zero backplay whatsoever. Very nice and satisfying clicks there, and lines up perfectly, except I just went one past. But lines up nicely. Hopefully I'll get it lined up as I'm using the camera here. I'm not sure. There we go. So it lines up very, very nice. And as I mentioned, Swiss Super Luminova in there. The steel is also circular brushed, as you can see there. The finishing is all done to a really nice standard. Has a screwed down crown. The crown is really easy to engage with. It's a fairly large crown, which I like. It does have the branding for Boldr on the crown there. Not sure if you can see that very well. Very, very easy to unscrew and rethread. This does have a date window in it, and so that first pop that you hear when you unscrew will enable you to wind the movement. As you turn the crown, one click out to position 2 will enable you to change the date window, and you do that by turning it clockwise, as you can see. And then of course, when you pull the crown out to the last position, it will hack the movement so that you can set your time, and you can set it to the atomic clock or your iPhone fairly accurately as a result. Once again, nice and easy, buttery smooth to rethread this crown. And so excellent action on the crown. The movement that this watch has, you can see it through the display case back, as well as a little bit of it through this translucent dial in the center there. There it is, pretty cool. It's the Miyota 90-15 movement, and so an excellent high beat caliber movement here, beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour, causing that seconds hand, look at that, to sweep beautifully at 8 ticks per second. And so overall, this is an absolutely fantastic watch. The bracelet has screw pins for adjustment, and just have a look at the amount of micro adjusts that you have on the clasp there. For my 7.5-inch wrist, I didn't even have to size the bracelet. As you can see, I just moved the bracelet to the very end hole there, and fits me quite nicely. And the display case back also has a nice bit of decoration on there, if that's something that you kind of dig and are into. Personally, I think it would have just been better to leave that back plain or use a stainless steel with some etching on it, instead of kind of blocking the movement with that decorative pattern there a little bit. But that's personal preference. Fold over security lock. It is branded with the Boldr logo, and I believe, and someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the fault line that runs through California is what that line there represents. But I'm not 100% sure on that. It's not a scratch. That is a design element of the watch. And forgive me if I got that little detail wrong, exactly what that is. The lume on this watch is absolutely incredible, which we'll get to in just a moment. But let's just have a closer look at this dial. It is a multi-layered dial, sapphire crystal, domed sapphire crystal, as you can see there. Look at the nice doming on there. Domed sapphire crystal with plenty of AR coating, and I love this dial. It's multi-layered, and so you can see the chapter ring on the outside with the numerals every 5-minute marker is one layer. Below that you have the minute track and the big bold indices, all in black. All of the white that you see surrounding the black and the white ring around the minute track and the indices are filled with Swiss Super Luminova. And I have to say that of any micro brand company that I have had in hand so far, even beyond micro brand companies, this watch has honestly the best lume I think I've seen on a watch to date, or one of the best looms. Let's have a look at this lume shot now. Okay, now looking at the dial, again, it's multi-layered. These indices are not applied, but they're one separate ring underneath that outer chapter ring. You can see that the dial goes from translucent, so you can see a bit of the movement, to a dark black ring around that. Boldr and Odyssey Freediver 300 meters, all printed on with the logo. And I absolutely love the splash of orange and the width and depth of the hour and the minute hand. Super, super legible. I mean, this is just overall fantastic. It's just, I've had a fantastic experience with this watch. The date window is nicely done. Color match date wheel with the white Arabics, really nicely centered in there. I don't think it throws off the symmetry or anything like that. I think it's nicely done. And as I said, I think just overall, this is quite a fantastic piece, but it's not all perfect. There are some likes and gripes, and we'll discuss those right now. Now, the first gripe is just a personal preference type of thing. This watch comes with screw pins, but the watch did not come with a screw driver to size the watch. And so Hy, I really think it's important, Hy, the owner of the brand, think it's important that you send a screwdriver for adjusting. That would have been perfect. Otherwise, the packaging is very nice. So that's one of my gripes. My other gripe has to do with just the style of bezel. It's not coin edged, it's kind of scalloped there, I guess you could call it. And it is a solid bezel, but the action to turn it, just to get a grip on the bezel, it's a little bit, it's not difficult, but it's just not as user-friendly as other bezels that I've had. The action on it's wonderful. And I kind of wonder if you're actually diving with this, if this would be a little bit slippery as a result, being wet and everything. So I would have liked to see a little more grip around that bezel. And so that's one of my minor gripes as well. The other gripe, and this is a totally subjective one, but I think I'm going to have to say the price. You can get this watch, and I'll leave a link in the description of the video below. But this watch comes in at $799 US. Now, honestly, I think that's a little bit high. I think it could be probably at least $100 cheaper. But for the $799, you are getting a solid piece. So let me talk about what I like about this watch. It is absolutely well constructed, well finished. I love the angles, as I mentioned earlier. Solid bracelet, milled clasp. Branding is done throughout. And I just love the look of it. It's bold for Boldr, and I just think it's done really well design-wise. Some people in the unboxing video kind of commented they weren't a huge fan of the white and black, but I just think it works so well. And the fact that they have mostly brushed finish on, look at the angles on that bracelet. The angles on this watch are just wonderful, and it really gives a distinct look on the wrist. And I honestly love it. And the bit of polish on the angles that are cut into the bracelet, just give it a bit of a dressier look too. So it kind of serves in, as a tool watch and a bit of a dressy watch. Now it is a larger watch, so if you have a wrist size of 7 inches or smaller, it might be slightly too big for you. But I love big watches, and this fits my 7.5 inch wrist perfectly. And overall, I think this is just really, really well done, well made, very, very satisfying. 300 meters of water resistance. This is a true dive watch. It's not a dive style watch. So overall, well done, Hy and team. Let me show it to you on the wrist. And there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. And you can see the bits of polish there playing in the light, the little bit of light that I have in my in my office here, and I think it's just fantastic. Just look at how it hugs my wrist nicely. Again, 7.5-inch wrist. For those with smaller wrists, it might not go too well, but I just love the look, the feel, and the quality of this piece. I do wish it was just a tad bit cheaper, but overall, very, very solid watch. Very pleased with this Boldr watch and the brand. And so I'll leave a link in the description where you can check this one out. This one is heading over to Watch Wit, as at the filming of this video, I'm going to be sending it off to him and you'll get his thoughts on it. But it's overall a fantastic piece. And so guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you. We'll see you in the next video.